Hello YouTube, Beather here back with another kicking action figure review. Today's review is over the Bandai Creations, or Bandai America, Fusion Burning Godzilla from their Fusion series. And they did about 2 waves of Fusion series. We had a Fusion Godzilla 68, Fusion Showa Gigan, Fusion Mecha Godzilla, and the Fusion Burning Godzilla was in a wave with a Fusion Godzilla 2000 and also a Fusion Rainbow Mothra. And the Rainbow Mothra Gigan and Mechagodzilla were great. Great. Loved what they did with them. But the Godzillas are kind of bland. I don't have the Godzilla 2000 or the Godzilla 68. Just saying. I've never seen the Godzilla 68, and the Godzilla 2000 just never really called out to me. Neither did this guy. I just saw him. It came out for $10 one day while I was picking up some furniture and figured, what the heck, why not? So I picked him up, and to be totally honest, he's not that great a figure. I mean, he's not a bad Godzilla figure, but this figure had such potential, and it let us down. They let us down. Bandai Creations, you let us down. It's like, it's cut down on articulation. It has 2 points less articulation than the Burning Godzilla it came out alongside. But you know, the Mothra has less articulation too, and I believe Gigan does as well. I think it's missing a point in its tail. Mechagodzilla, I think, is about the same, actually. But while I don't like that, it's not near as much of a problem. I have Godzillas without articulated tails, which is where it's missing. But it's the color. I mean, the Godzilla 68 and the Godzilla 2000 are like this kind of gray color with all the sparkles in it. And this is the Godzilla that had a chance to mix it up. The prototype for this figure looks great. Looks very great. All the flames and stuff that are on its body, which you can barely see on this version. See, they're just kind of like this sad red color. Right there. You notice them? They're this sad red color. Kind of like the spines there. And they were like this bright translucent orange on the prototype and stuff. You can Google the prototype. There's pictures for it out. And it's actually looks really good. I'd rather have the prototype version than what we got. What we got's kind of lame and lazy. And it's not even a Burning Godzilla. I mean, you know, when I put these guys on top of my shelf from a distance, this looks more like just a regular Heisei Godzilla than it does a Burning Godzilla. Well, I wouldn't complain if we got a regular Heisei Godzilla. I'm just saying. But, if you were going to make a custom, just regular Heisei Godzilla, because you didn't want to import one or anything, and liked this sculpt, it'd be less of a waste to do it over a Fusion than it would a regular, in my opinion. Because I don't think this figure's that great. Let me show you what I was talking about with the articulation. I mean, the head still goes 360, the arms still go in and out on their swivel there, the legs still go forward and back, but at the base of the tail there was articulation on the regular. Now there's not. No articulation there. And halfway up the tail here there was articulation. So you could lay the tail of the other one flat if you wanted to, instead of having it curled up. And this one has to stay curled up all the time. I don't know why they got rid of articulation. Maybe it's because they're squishier. Maybe it's because, I don't know, they were making twice as many figures as they normally were, and that was to cut down on cost, but it doesn't seem like that's the reason. That can't be the reason, though, because the articulation points are still there. They're just glued. It might be the softer material, but whatever. And the translucence isn't that translucent. I can't see through this guy unless I hold him up to a light. The sparkles look fine, I guess. In Japan, the Japanese are real into, like the translucent figures and stuff like that, and all the color changes. And here in America, more collectors like the realistic looking figures that are character accurate. I personally like both. I just like interesting figures, to be totally honest. So I was kind of excited about the Fusion series, but the Godzillas are kind of a letdown. I'm still gonna, you know, maybe get 68 and 2000 now that I have this guy, just because, you know, he was kind of Here's kind of me putting my foot in the door for the Fusion Godzillas, and now I feel like I gotta get the rest of them. Hopefully I'll see him at a Kmart or something, because I don't really want to pay more than $10 for him. But if I never see him, it still won't bother me. Anyways, yeah, these Godzillas are not too great. But they did paint, you know, his claws on his hands, his claws on his toes, which I guess I'm thankful for. And the detail's good, just not the paint. I just don't like the color. But the sculpting is great. It's got the same sculpt as the reissue Burning Godzilla, who is a little more upright, has a bit longer legs, and a curled tail. I have the original sculpt here. You can see it's more hunched, shorter legs, long tail. So, yeah. I have the reissue, the regular version. I believe I already said that, but it is not here with me right now. It is in a different place. So, I just have the original release to show off. But yeah, you know, his teeth and tongue are still painted, his eyes still look good and all. It's just this awful red. I wish it would have been the translucent orange. That would have looked fantastic. Bandai Creations also showed like a meltdown Godzilla, which is what happens after Burning Godzilla, like 2 years ago at Toy Fair. 2 years ago from when I'm filming this. We just recently had the 2014 Toy Fair. Last month. I'm filming this in March. But this guy, like, I'm probably never going to see that Meltdown Godzilla ever, which is fine by me, because I have, you know, the Monster Arts Comic-Con Explosion. But this guy is just, he looks bland. He looks very bland. I don't think I'm going to display him with my regular Godzilla lineup that I have. I wouldn't display, you know, my Fusion Godzillas with that anyways, because it's repeats of some years. Like, if I had the SH Monster Arts Burning Godzilla and the vinyl, I wouldn't have them both up there. I would just pick one and put it up there. But yeah, anyways, now let's get the size comparisons. Here's the Fusion Burning Godzilla with some other Bandai Creations figures. On the left, we have the Godzilla 2000. That's the original release. The re-release, the reissue, has brighter spines, more pinkish spines than purple. But they're still both great figures. I just prefer the darker spines, so I have the original release. But yeah, these guys were re-released alongside each other, and as I said, there's a Fusion of the 2000 as well. But they scale up pretty great together, you know. One of those Godzillas might have been taller than the other, but it doesn't really matter to me. I like all my Godzillas to be the same height, which is fine. And then over here on the right, we have the Gigan from Godzilla Final Wars, as I said, also from Bandai Creations, and also the original release. Most of my monsters are the original release unless they change something major like the sculpt. But yeah, his main thing is he's a darker blue, maybe less sparkles. The other one might have had more sparkles. Almost got it too, just because I love Gigan. My favorite monster, really. But yeah, you know, I would say that Gigan might be a tiny bit tall, but to be honest, I like my villain monsters to be bigger than my hero monsters, or my Force of Nature monsters. So, I'm totally fine with that. So yeah, I think he scales up great with your other Bandai Creations figures. Now here's our Godzilla with some monsters from other franchises. Here he is with the Showa Gamera on the left. That is the repaint of the Memorial Box version. And I think they look cool together. Godzilla's a little taller. Showa Gamera would be shorter than Heisei Godzilla, for sure. But Heisei Godzilla would also be much, much taller than that, and not just that tiny bit taller. But it doesn't really matter to me. I think they look cool together, which is all that matters to me. I just think as long as they look cool, like they could fight each other, then it's fine. And then here is our Godzilla with Bogal from Ultraman Mebius. She's on the right. Was the main villain in the series for a while. And I think they look cool together too. Bogal looks like she could put up a fight against Godzilla. Bogal might even be able to beat Godzilla. There are a lot of Ultra monsters that could really just kick Godzilla's butt. Just because, you know, the Ultra monsters, you got a new monster each week you have to come up with, right? So they got to be more and more and more and more powerful. So these monsters are like insanely powerful. But everything in Tokyo is overpowered anyways. So. But yeah, you know, they look cool together. Really dig it. Loving Godzilla with Bogal. Just 100%. So yeah, he scales up well with your imports from other franchises as well. And speaking of imports, here is the Burning Godzilla with the SH Monster Arts Comic-Con Explosion Godzilla I mentioned earlier, here on the left. Yeah, also just, spectacular figure, first off. And it's also a great scaling, Explosion might be a little thinner. Well, Explosion is definitely a little thinner, but I guess that's for articulation's sake, partially. But yeah, they scale up great together. If you were making a movie and you wanted to use this Fusion Godzilla, like say you were doing a stop motion film, and you didn't have a Monster Arts Burning Godzilla, and so you had your regular Bandai Creations Burning Godzilla romping around through the city, and he was going to go in the meltdown. If you wanted to put the fusion in between that sequence, like it's burning, fusion, and then meltdown into the Comic-Con exclusive Godzilla here, that'd be pretty cool. Because they scale up great together. Freaking speech pediment. And then here on the right we have the Battle Damage Gypsy Danger from Series 2. I got this one out of the 2-pack, not that there's any difference. And I don't think they scale up well together at all. This is the first thing he hasn't scaled up well with, to be honest. It's just in too big a scale. But if you have any 8-inch Godzilla figures, like 8-inch Bandais or Banprestos or something, they will scale up great with your Pacific Rim stuff. So, yeah. If you want a Godzilla that scales up well with Pacific Rim, I recommend like 2003 Banpresto or something like that. They'll scale up very well with your Pacific Rim stuff. But not so well with your Bandai Creations. Well, that's it for this review. So, all in all, what do I think of the Bandai Creations Fusion Burning Godzilla? To be honest, I'm not very happy with this figure. I'm really not. It had potential. The prototype looked fantastic. But this final product is very, very lacking. I mean, it has adequate articulation for a cheap $10 toy like this, Head, arms, and legs. I wouldn't have complained if there was no tail articulation, except for the fact that this same sculpt that's not fusion has 2 points in the tail. Because I have Godzillas that I got from Japan that don't have tail articulation, that were real cheap. That were just cheap vinyls. But come on. Would it really have hurt to just leave those points in there? I would love to get those articulation points back. They're there, they're just glued. And it might be because of the material they're made out of and they just weren't staying. But come on. Really? Kind of ticks me off, to be totally honest. And then we had that bright translucent orange all in this figure, and now we don't. It's this awful looking dark brick red. But the sculpt is great. It has a solid sculpt. It's just not a good looking figure. I gotta give it 3 out of 5 stars. Alright, it would be 2 if it didn't scale up so well with everything. And if the sculpt wasn't solid. If it's a pretty solid sculpt, sculpt-wise it looks just like Burning Godzilla. It's just this awful, awful paint and the loss of 2 points. So it would be 2.5 if I gave halves, but I don't like to give halves. So 3, I guess. Because, the scaling was pretty perfect. And the detail is great. It's that awful paint and that lack of 2 points. So if you're not a completist for the line, I don't really recommend this guy at all. I don't. Sorry, I'm only missing like 4 figures from Bandai Creations currently. And, I'm glad I have him just because I have almost the complete line. But at the same time, it's like, I wouldn't have paid any more for $10 for him. So really, if you're not getting him for Kmart or getting him used for a deal or something, you probably just shouldn't be getting him. And I always feel like my toys resent me when I insult them like this, but it's true. It's just not, it's not worth 15 bucks, and it's really not worth 25. I've seen it going for $25, and that is not gonna ever happen for me. So yeah, that's it, you guys. 3 out of 5 stars, and that's pushing it. But please rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below. Links to other YouTubers with great reviews. Be sure to support them. Also links to Facebook, Twitter. Follow you back on Twitter when we can. And also got some other good channels down there that are from me. You got B3 Productions, this is our main channel. We got action figure hauls and unboxings and stuff on there, so be sure to check that out. Also action figure parodies. And what else do we have? Yes, what else? Oh, that's right. Super Friends Benefits, our gaming channel. Be sure to go check out that gaming channel. Also, you'll be really relieved to know that we also have a horror, drama, and suspense channel, which is currently our biggest project to date. It's been going on for years, so be sure to check that out. It's called The Slender Happening. Link in the description below. So yeah, that's it, you guys. As I said, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all later.